Welcome to Cost Saver Conversations. I'm Angela, and I ask the practical questions so you can quickly understand what matters. Today, I'm joined by Assad.
Hi, Angela. We are unpacking Empty Property Council Tax Premium 2026, mistakes that cost UK owners thousands today, and tying it back to the wider cost saver ecosystem, including tools like Council Tax Empty Property Premium Calculator UK, so you can turn insights into action quickly.
Just a heads up before we dive in, we are your synthetic hosts. We are great with numbers, but as AI, we can sometimes be confidently wrong. Think of us as the digital versions of your most knowledgeable, slightly caffeinated friends.
Exactly. Treat this chat as a smart estimate only, not as professional financial guidance. Always check important details with official sources or a qualified expert before making any big decisions.
Welcome back, everyone. So, today we're getting into something that, honestly, I think a lot of people are going to find this one a bit uncomfortable. We're talking about empty properties and council tax, and specifically the premiums that are now hitting owners really hard. Assad, it's kind of a big deal, isn't it?
It's a massive deal. And I think what frustrates me is that so many owners they don't see it coming. Like 2026 is genuinely a turning point for this stuff. And the maths it's swung against people in a way that I don't think most have fully clocked yet.
Okay, so walk me through it. Because I thought there was always, a decent grace period if your property was sitting empty. Like you had time to sort things out.
Yeah, you did. You used to get about 2 years. So if you'd inherited a place, or you were doing a big refurb, or you were just waiting for the market to do something, you had that buffer. But the Leveling Up and Regeneration Act from 2023, it basically gave councils much sharper teeth, and most local authorities in England have now adopted a one-year trigger.
1 year? So the grace period's been halved?
Halved, yeah. And the thing is, miss that 12-month mark by even a week, and you can land on 100% premium. So you're looking at double council tax from day 366, like literally one day over and bang.
Wow. Okay, so what does that actually look like in pounds and pence? Because double sounds bad, but I want to know the real numbers.
Right. So, and this is where it gets uncomfortable. Take a Band D property in a typical English shire. Standard bill, roughly £2,300. Once you hit year 2 empty, that becomes £4,600. Leave it to year 5, £6,900. A decade or more, you're at £9,200. And if you just let it drift over 5 years, you could hand a council more than $25,000 in premiums alone.
Sorry, 25,000?
25,000 just in premiums.
Huh, that's a lot of money. And this is on top of the normal bill, right? Not instead of?
Yeah, that's the bit that trips people up. It's on top. So when you see 200% premium in council paperwork, that usually means the total bill is triple the standard amount. Not double, triple. You really have to read the wording carefully before you budget.
Oh, okay. I definitely would have read that wrong. I'd have assumed 200% meant double.
Everyone does. Everyone does. Yeah, the language is genuinely misleading if you're not used to it.
Right. So this isn't just about like derelict houses nobody cares about. I heard there's something about second homes too.
Oh, this is the one that's catching the most people out in 2026. So from April 2025, there's a separate 100% premium that applies to second homes, furnished properties where nobody is actually resident. So you're paying 200% total from day one. And it doesn't matter if the place is fully furnished, aired weekly, used every school holiday. If no one's resident and your council has adopted the policy, double from the start.
Wait, so if I've got a holiday cottage in Cornwall that I use regularly, but it's not my main home?
You could be paying double council tax, yeah. And Cornwall, the Lake District, North Yorkshire, a lot of coastal Wales, they've adopted this aggressively. London boroughs have been slower, but most are moving that way now.
I hadn't thought about it like that. That's going to hit a lot of families who've had places for years.
It really is. And, the government's rationale is pushing empty stock back into use during a housing crisis. Whether you agree with that or not, the enforcement is real, It's automated, and it's increasingly hard to appeal.
So, what are the mistakes people keep making? Because I'm guessing there are some patterns.
There are. Well, there are a few big ones that come up again and again. The first is this old wives' tale about furniture. For years, the folk wisdom was, leave a bed and a kettle in it and the premium doesn't apply. And that was sort of true under the old substantially unfurnished test, but it's not reliable anymore.
Because of the second homes thing?
Exactly. The 2025 second homes premium specifically targets furnished properties with no resident. So that sofa in the front room, it buys you nothing now. Furniture is no longer a tax planning tool. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. So, what's the next big mistake?
Miscounting the empty from date. This one is, I've seen it so many times. Councils start the clock from when the last resident left, or when the property became unfurnished. Not from when you bought it, not from when you inherited it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So there was a reader, Sarah from Leeds, who bought a probate property. She thought it had been empty for about 6 months. Turns out it was 11. She landed on the 100% premium within 4 weeks of completing the purchase. First year's bill was £3,900 instead of the $1,950 she'd budgeted for. Nobody at the estate agent mentioned it. Her solicitor sort of mentioned it in passing, but
That's a nasty shock. Nearly double what she expected.
nearly double, yeah. And inherited properties are even trickier because there's a Class F exemption for up to 6 months after probate is granted. But the clock for the premium can start ticking from the date of death in some council interpretations. So if probate drags on, you can come out of the exempt period already halfway to the premium threshold.
Wait, really? So the exemption clock and the premium clock are.
Not the same clock, yeah. The exemption might pause the charging, but the calendar for how long the property's been empty can keep running in the background. It's one of those things.
That's wild. Okay, what about renovations? Because surely if you've got skips outside and plasters inside, they can't call it empty in the same way.
You think so, right? But no. There used to be a Class A exemption for properties undergoing major repairs. That was abolished for most councils years ago. Today, a property mid-renovation is just empty and unfurnished. Clock ticks regardless. A 12-month refurb that overruns by 3 months is a very expensive mistake.
That is harsh.
It is harsh. Some owners now deliberately live on site during major works, even in caravans on the drive, just to keep occupancy status, which tells you everything about how the incentives are stacking.
A caravan on the drive? That's commitment. So, is there any way to, I don't know, push back on this? Get a discount or appeal?
Yes, and this is the most overlooked thing. Every council has discretionary powers to reduce or waive premiums in specific circumstances, and almost nobody applies. Like almost nobody.
Really?
Really. The categories that often qualify include properties being actively marketed at a realistic price, properties awaiting probate where the executor can show documented progress, owners in long-term hospital or residential care, properties that are structurally unsafe, properties where planning permission is pending. These aren't automatic. You have to write, provide evidence, sometimes appeal an initial refusal. But a partial waiver can be worth £2,000 to £5,000. The application takes about an hour to prepare properly.
Oh, that's actually reassuring. An hour of paperwork for potentially thousands back?
Exactly. It's a no-brainer if you might qualify.
So, beyond the premium itself, what else is lurking? Because I get the sense the premium is sort of the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, it's just a headline number. So, insurance. Standard buildings insurance typically requires occupation. Empty property insurance costs 2 to 4 times as much. You're looking at £600 to £1,500 a year on a mid-value property versus maybe $250 for a normal policy. And here's the really dangerous bit. If you don't switch to empty property insurance and something goes wrong, the claim can be refused entirely.
Refused entirely?
Entirely, like catastrophic. That's one of the most common and devastating errors I see.
God. Okay, what else?
Utilities on standby. Even an empty property runs up standing charges. Gas and electricity standing charges alone are roughly £300 a year in 2026 before you use a single unit. Water rates continue. Then there's maintenance drift. Empty properties deteriorate faster than occupied ones. Guttering blocks, damp appears, small leaks turn into ceiling collapses, gardens become liabilities. A realistic maintenance budget is sort of 1.5 to 2% of the property's value per year. Security, compliance, squatters, metal theft, fly tipping, and then the big one people forget.
Go on.
Opportunity cost. If a property is worth $300,000 and it's just sitting there, that's $300,000 not earning anything. At even a 4% risk-free return, that's $12,000 a year of lost yield, on top of every other cost.
So when you add all of that together,
When you add the premium, insurance, standing charges, maintenance, and opportunity cost, an empty $300,000 property in year 3 can cost you $25,000 to $30,000 annually before you've done anything with it. That's the real number. Have I explained that clearly? Because I know it sounds almost unbelievable.
no, it's clear. It's just terrifying. So what should people actually do? Because that's a lot of money to just bleed away.
Right. So there's almost always a better option than passively paying the premium. The most straightforward one, sell. Even at a discount, a $15,000 price reduction that gets you a quick sale can save you 2 or 3 years of holding costs. Owners routinely lose more chasing an aspirational asking price than they'd have lost by just cutting it.
Fair enough. Get it done.
Or let it, even short term. Long-term letting kills the premium instantly and turns the property from a cost into income. Short-term or holiday letting can work too, though you need to check whether your council treats furnished holiday lets as second homes for premium purposes now. Renovating on a deadline is another option, but treat that 12-month mark as a hard deadline, not an aspiration. Get a project manager, agree penalty clauses with your builder, because the premium alone can equal a full kitchen refit each year of overrun.
What about moving a family member in? I've heard people suggest that.
Yeah, genuine occupation by a family member ends the empty status. But, and this is important, it has to be real. Genuinely resident, registered on the electoral roll, using it as their main home. Councils are increasingly willing to challenge sham arrangements, so don't try to fake it.
Right.
And whatever you do, don't just stop paying and hope. Councils use liability orders and bailiffs on council tax debt with real speed. Once enforcement starts, court costs and bailiff fees pile on top of the premium. It gets ugly fast.
Okay, so no burying your head in the sand. This has been kind of a wake-up call, honestly. So for someone listening right now who owns an empty property, what should they do this week, like practically?
Okay, so 5 things, and honestly, they take under an hour total. First, find your council's current empty homes and second homes premium on their website. Just search your council name plus empty property premium. Second, confirm the last occupied date for your property from your records or the previous owner's solicitor. Third, run your specific band and timeline through an online calculator to see your 12-month exposure. Fourth, and this one's urgent, check your building's insurance for the empty property clause and how long you have before cover lapses.
And fifth?
Diarize a decision date within 30 days. Pick your path, sell, let, refurb, or occupy, and commit to it. Because the owners who lose least in 2026 aren't the ones who found a clever loophole. They're the ones who did the maths early and actually made a decision. Those 5 steps typically save owners $3,000 to $8,000 in avoidable premium and insurance mistakes in the first year alone.
I love that. Concrete steps under an hour. Assad, thank you. This has been genuinely eye-opening. The big takeaway for me is just don't drift. The cost of doing nothing is way higher than most people realize.
That's exactly it. Leaving it for now is genuinely the most expensive choice available.
Do the maths, make the call, and move.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Assad. And thanks for listening, everyone. Go do those 5 steps this week. We'll see you next time. Quick side note, this guide connects with other cost-saver blogs, especially Company Car versus Cash Allowance Question 4, Emergency Fund Runway that actually works in UK conditions, and analysis of national insurance gap top-ups and their return.
Exactly. And reading those together helps you connect the dots across your household budget, not just this one topic in isolation.
And if you want to apply this immediately, jump into tools like Council Tax Empty Property Premium Calculator UK right after this episode.
Primary sources used here include gov.uk, Council Tax on Empty and Second Homes Guidance, and Money Saving Expert, so you can verify the data yourself and stay evidence-led.
That wraps this Past Saver conversation with Angela and Assad. If this helped, share it with someone who could put these ideas to work this week.
Your next step is simple. Try Council Tax Empty Property Premium Calculator UK, then read Company Car versus Cash Allowance Question 4 and use them together to take action today.